Hello, good morning again, and welcome to the Moment of Truth with the Center for Character and Leadership Development here in the city of Abuja, Nigeria. My name is Effium Effium. I'm a life coach. I show you how to achieve your result using timeless principles. We have been looking at how to live your life by design rather than by default or by chance. And we started by saying you could take time to evaluate your life, what you have done well, what you didn't do very well that you need to work on or change completely, and areas that needs just little or drastic improvement. Now, these evaluations will show you where you are strong, where you are weak, where you need to work more on in the coming years of your life, and what you need to do. And after that, we looked at certain processes that guarantee success. We talk about your thinking, your affirmations. We talk about your reasoning, your dominant feelings, and so on. And in the third edition, which happened last week, we looked at certain laws that governs results. We looked at 5 of them. The first one being the basic law of life, which we call the law of cause and effect. We looked at the law of belief, the law of expectations, which says that you will always get what you really expect out of life, out of people, out of circumstances, out of your environment. We also look at other laws that deals with the law of corresponding and the law of attraction. And particularly these laws simply says that your inner world are responsible for everything you see in your outer world. Your outer world being your experiences, being your circumstances, being the results that you have. And these results are controlled 100% by the kind of things that you have in your inner world. So today we want to look at those things that you have in your inner world. And when we say inner world, what exactly do we mean by our inner world? I have carried out some research and I've come to realize that in our inner world, or what we call our mental or psychological world, which controls the outer world, is actually could be summed up by one single word called attitude. Now, attitude is simply the combination of all your beliefs, your feelings, your dominant thoughts, and every action or reaction that you have to do in your life. Your inner world is made up of your personality, and your personality comprises of your thoughts, your feelings, your values, your beliefs, and every other thing that have to do with your life. Now, attitude is extremely very important. Attitude is something that is individualistic. It is a combination of all your choices. It is anchored on the things that you desire, that the things that you love, that the things by the things you approve. You were not born, many of us, in fact, all of us, were not born with the same attitude that we have now. Your attitude to life, your attitude to people, your attitude to things, your attitude to ideas are consequences of past choices, of past beliefs, of past values. Those are the things that have informed the way you react to certain things in your life. Now, positive attitude determines positive results, and negative attitude determines negative results. Now, attitude determines behaviors. Your attitude determines your behavior, and your behavior determines your result. Now, if you look at every singular result that we crave for in life, whatever it is, even if whether you call it success, you call it greatness, you call it wealth, whatever name you call it, every result, including even intangible results like happiness, love, gladness, enthusiasm, and so on, they are all components of little actions and activities here and there. Those activities combined together formed those results. And what controls those activities is your predetermined attitude towards those activities. For instance, if you're someone that really loves the thing you do, if you really love your work, your attitude towards your work will be very positive and you will be eager to work. And the energy with which you approach your work will be very deep and will be very encouraging. And the result that you will get for doing the thing that you like will always be pleasant result. Because even when you don't achieve exactly what you want, you will still persevere to start the process all over again without feeling tired or worn out. But if your initial starting attitude is that of negative attitude towards that work, from the very word go, you will feel tired, you will feel bored, the work will become very difficult for you to do. And at the end of the day, because you won't put in all your energy, that work will not come out representing the best of your ability. So attitude determines your behavior towards the person, towards the action, towards everything that you want to do. And those activities also determine the final output that you will get. So attitude is the world that we have created inside of us that is controlling the world that we have outside of us. Now, by the law of consistency, our attitude and our behavior are always consistent. Your behavior cannot be different from your attitude. So, summarily, we could say that our attitude determines our result. What a conclusion. So, that immediately tells us that the result that you want depends 100% on your attitude. So if you want positive result, you have to create positive attitude. If you want negative result, all you have to do is simply create a negative attitude, and you will not need to do any other thing extra. It also means that there is no one outside of yourself that finally determines the result that you get in your life. No one outside of yourself will determine whether you will be successful in 2021 and the remaining part of your year. There is no environment that ultimately determines who you will become if your attitude is positive. So you on your own self is the one that will determine whether you will get positive result in the year coming ahead of you or whether you will get negative result in the years ahead of you. So attitude is our world inside. Remember last week we talked about the law of correspondence, that your world outside is only a reflection of your world inside. And so we've taken time today by looking at what could be this world inside. And we've looked at it and said, in one word, it could be summed up as your attitude. And attitude is simply a combination of your dominant thoughts, your dominant beliefs, your feelings, your emotions, your values, your beliefs, your behavior. All these things form your inner environment, inner home. That is where we all live. We all live within our attitude. Now, two fundamental examples I could use to describe this power behind your attitude is If you are looking for smoke, which is the physical outer experiences, all you need to do is put on the fire. You don't need to go and look for smoke. All you need to do is put on the fire. On the other hand, if the experiences you don't have is likened to the smoke, all you need to do is not fight the experiences directly. Go to the cause of the experience, which is the fire. Once you put out the fire, the smoke will take care of itself. Another natural example I would like to use to explain that the inner world controls the outer world is the reflection in a mirror. If you go and stand before a mirror, the mirror only reflects to you the object that is presented before it. If you don't like the reflection, you don't need to fight the reflection. Just change the object. Similarly, if in your life you do not like what you see, maybe in year 2020 you've been struggling, you've been looking for job, nothing seems to be working the way you would want it to have, you want more money, you don't have it, you don't need to fight all those experiences. All that the experiences are telling you is your inner world, the picture you have in your inner world are the ones that are reflecting in your outer world. So go to work in your inner world and then you change it. And we say your inner world comprises of your thinking, of your feeling, of your beliefs, of your values, and every other thing that has to do with your choices over the years, especially in the last 10 years. Now, there are factors that influences our attitude to life. Some of them are external, while others are internal to us. Now, among those values that are external to us, we have things like your environment. Most times, our environment constitutes our lives. Environment have tremendous impact on the things that we believe, on the things that we accept, on the things that we love. Your environment is a critical factor in determining what you believe, what you think, what you accept, what you dislike. So you have to be cautious on the kind of environment that you live in. Stay away from toxic, negative environment. They will influence what you come to believe in. Stay away from negative people. They will influence what you come to believe in. So your environment plays a critical role in determining what your attitude will be towards life. If you have children, for instance, that came out from a home that was always characterized by trouble, by quarrel, by fighting, their attitude towards life, towards marriage, will be drastically influenced by the way they grew up and what they see in their different homes. So your environment plays a critical role in what your attitude will become in the future. The second critical thing that influences our attitude to life is our traditions, our customs, our norms. If you grow up in a particular tradition, there are certain things they will tell you that is acceptable and certain things they will tell you they are not acceptable. And based on those do's and don'ts, they informed what you come to accept as being true or as being wrong. And those things that you've accepted as truth or false now inform your attitude going forward in life. Similarly, our religious inclinations also play a tremendous role in forming our attitude. Because in your religion, they will tell you, you cannot do this, you cannot do that. And many of us come to accept them without even asking questions, without even querying them. Could this thing be true? Could this thing be right? On your own, you've not really taken time to test it. And so you've accepted it. So our religious inclinations also could influence our attitude. And then internally, the things that influences our attitude could also be the things that you've imagined. Some people could sit down and imagine certain negative things. What if the sky falls? What if I fail? What if life doesn't go as I plan? What if this goes wrong? And all they could imagine are incidents of fear, incidents of trouble, to pictures of disasters here and there. And because of these consistent imaginations coming up within them, they also have formed a negative attitude, because your attitude is the embodiment of your entire personality, and they determine 100% the kind of result that you have. And so we have looked at the internal factors. The second internal factors that could influence your attitude is your reasoning. When something happens, how do you reason with it? How do you analyze it? What conclusions do you reach based on the things that you have seen, the things that you have heard? Do you say they are all negative? Do you accept them, look at them from the negative point of view rather than the positive point of view? For instance, year 2020 has been very peculiar. We've had the COVID-19 experience. Some people deliberately looked at COVID-19 from the positive side of life. And the question that pops out on their mind is, what do I do differently to take advantage of this time? And then you see these people going ahead to create online platforms which they use to improve their business awareness. Some people went to learn online advertising skills, and that drastically helped them to improve their business awareness, improve their capacity to do things. On the other hand, we have some people who looked at COVID-19 from a very negative perspective, and they felt, well, this disease has come to kill us, this disease has come to maim us, oh, what can we do? And they just keep that and they just cry over it and sit down and do nothing. So your personal perception and reasoning about certain events and circumstances around you could also inform the kind of attitude that you develop. Remember, attitude could be positive, your attitude could be negative. It is exclusively your own choice. But whichever conclusion you reach greatly now determine the kind of result that you get at the end of the day. So you always, always have a role to play in the kind of attitude that you have in your own life. Well, I have to recognize Okwe Susie. Thank you so much for your comment. I really do appreciate it. Today we are looking at attitude. We've said attitude are the embodiment of everything about your life. They comprise of your beliefs, they comprise of your value, they comprise of emotions and your dominant thoughts. And they influence your behavior. You will never behave differently from your attitude. Your attitude determines how you will behave. Those who have the attitude of pretending, you always see them pretend. If you have the attitude to lie, you will always find yourself lying, even when the situation doesn't call for it. Your attitude and your behavior will always be in alignment, will always be consistent by the law of consistency. You cannot behave differently. Now, this means that the result you will get in the coming year will be consistent with your attitude. So wouldn't you rather sit down and ask yourself, what's my attitude towards success? What's my attitude towards wealth? What's my attitude towards happiness? What's my attitude towards my spouse, my children, my job? Since I will only get results that are consistent with my attitude, what are my attitude towards every aspect of my life? Now, people with positive attitude will invariably realize or achieve positive results, and people with negative attitude will also achieve negative results. And people that are, well, neither here nor there in their attitude will also receive results that are neither here nor there. Attitude determines result 100%. You cannot miss it. Now, attitude also is a way that you look at life, the way you see life, the way you perceive things. It is the glasses that you use to see results, that you see life, that you see everything around you. That reminds me of a story I heard several years ago about a couple who went to buy gas in a filling station. And when they got there, the gas station offers complimentary services in that when you come with your car, they help you clean your windscreen while they are filling up your tank. And there's this man that put on a glass with his wife, and the station attendant came and cleaned the windscreen. The man called the attendant back and said he didn't do a good job in cleaning the glass, that he's still finding some dirt on the glass, that he should clean the glass again. The attendant did the second time, and the man still kept complaining. After a while, the wife observed what was going on, looked at her husband, removed the glass from the man's eyes, cleaned the glass, and put it back on the man. It was then the husband now said, "Yes, now I see you have done a good job." No, the problem he had was not what the attendant did. The problem he had was the perspective, was the outlook. His own attitude have overshadowed it. He saw what the attendant did through the glasses in which he was wearing. So our attitude are also the kind of glass that we use to look at the world. And the way we see the world through those glasses is the way the world appears to us. Now it is important. Thank you also. I also like to acknowledge Akpan Okata. Thank you for your comment. Please, if you have questions, you have comment, please send it on our comment section below and we'll actually acknowledge that. Thank you so much. Now I would like to suggest some kind of attitude that you need to build for your own good. Stay away from toxic and negative attitude. Attitude determines everything about your life. And interestingly, if you put the word attitude with the numbers A standing for 1, T for 20, and so on, you will discover that the sum total of that word comes to 100. That means attitude 100%, we could say that in a way, that it determines everything about your life 100%. So instead of thinking of how do I succeed in this area of my life, how do I succeed in this area of my life, no, you could actually sit down and say, okay, if my attitude, since my attitude determines the kind of result I get in life, okay, I am going to put in those results in my attitude. For instance, I would like to have the attitude of success. So what do I put in? One, I could put in the attitude of success. And one way to do that is to believe that you are actually successful. The attitude of success produces success. The attitude of wealth produces wealth. The attitude of love produces love. The attitude of kindness produces kindness. Whatever kind of attitude, it will produce after its kind. The beautiful thing about attitude is that it produces after its kind. The attitude of strength will produce strength. The attitude of love produces love. The attitude of prosperity produces prosperity. The attitude of tolerance will also produce tolerance. Conversely, the attitude of hatred produces hatred. The attitude of lie produces lies. The attitude of poverty produces poverty. The attitude of low self-esteem would also produce low self-esteem. You know, I read a quote one day that really, really startled me. And the quote says, "Can a beggar act like a king while he thinks like a beggar?" Let me repeat that. Can a beggar act like a king while he thinks like a beggar? The answer is no. Now, the beggar can only act like a king if he thinks like a king. So your attitude determines the way you behave. Your attitude determines the way you behave. Someone with low self-esteem as an attitude will also express low self-esteem. So if you must behave like someone with a very high self-esteem, a high self-worth, you must form that attitude within your mind. You must embrace that attitude. You must calculatively walk along that attitude because it determines every result you will get along that line. So invariably today we've looked at our inner world and we say by the law of correspondence, your inner world determines what you have in your outer world. And in your inner world, you could create anything that you want. You could create the most fantastic life you want in your inner world. You are not limited by resources. You are not limited by economy. You are not limited by cost. You are not limited by anything. You are completely free to create the kind of world that you need inside of you. And once that world is created, and once that world is believed in, and once that world becomes your choice in seeing life, in seeing everything concerning people, concerning everything around you, that world will begin to express itself through your behavior. It will begin to express yourself through your words. It will begin to express itself through your conduct. And you see, your attitude towards yourself will determine your behavior towards yourself, and your behavior towards yourself will determine your behavior towards other people. And your behavior towards other people will also determine people's behavior towards you. So it begins with the way you see yourself. It begins with the way you handle, you perceive yourself and your capacity. Now, attitude that says, I can do it and I will do it, will propel you to moving forward to getting those things done. The attitude that I say, I cannot do it and I won't do it, will incapacitate you completely and make you unable to make any reasonable and tangible progress in your life. So it all comes back to you. The dice is in your hand. You are the holder of your own life and you can shape it any way that you want. That puts the responsibility of success or failure into your own hands. And you always have a choice. Nothing can stop you from achieving what you want to do. You don't need to be that thing now in your outer world. The law says your inner world is the most important part of your life. Whatever you want to see in your outer world, create that thing in your inner world. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be simple. It's going to take time. It's going to take effort. Your are easier to achieve than others. If your result is big, it might require perseverance, it might require patience, it might require harder work, it might require putting in much more effort than someone who achieves something smaller. So, but remember, you can actually design your life by designing your attitude. Your attitude is the combination of your values, of your beliefs, of your dominant thought, of your dominant feeling. Someone who feels excited, someone who feels elated will also express those things by the way you preach, by the way you relate with people. And remember, the way you relate with people determines the way they relate back to you. When you love people, they love you back. When you are kind to them, they are kind to you. And if you want people to be mean to you, just be mean to them. So your attitude towards people determines their attitude towards you. If you are tolerant to people, they will be tolerant to you. Whatever you want people to do to you, that is exactly what you should do to them. And it will open doors you never expected it could open. So your attitude is the most important aspect of your life. To change your attitude, your life will change correspondingly by the law of correspondence. So today, we've also seen that life can be designed. Life can be lived the way you want it to unfold. Life can actually be what you want it to be. It shouldn't be something that just happened to you. Life can be designed and life can be lived the way you want it to be. I have seen this thing work in my own life personally. I wasn't like this before. Sometimes I was someone that once a little thing happens, I'll flare up and it will take me 5 days to come back. Anger characterized my life. But at a point, I sat down and I said, no, I can't continue living like this. And I started building up the attitude of tolerance to understand people's weakness and allowing people to offend me, and also build up the attitude of forgiveness and allowing people to let go of the injury people have caused you. Now, three fundamental attitudes you could build that could really help your life is the attitude of love. You see, love is kind, love is patience, love never gives up, and love never keep wrong of people who have wronged it. Never keep record of people who have wronged it. So attitude of love is one of the greatest attitudes you could build. Another attitude is the attitude of expectations, positive expectations and enthusiasm with excellence. The person who expects something good will always experience something good. And the person who conversely expects something bad will experience something bad. Each expectations will happen the way you expect it, and then they will reinforce your own belief about that particular thing. And then the final one I would like to leave you with is build the attitude of principles. Make sure you build your life on principle. Principles don't change. Principles don't fail. Principles always guarantee success in every aspect of life. It was nice relating with you today again on the aspect of living your life by design. You can actually design your life the way you want it to go. And even when the external factors come, you have the final say in what you allow in your life and what you don't. Life can be lived in a very carefully planned way. And if you would like to plan your life, you want someone to work with you in planning your life going forward, especially in the next year. No one knows what is coming ahead, but you can decide what you will want to appear in your own experiences, in your own life. If you want someone to take you through that period, please feel free to call the number on your screen or send an email to ccld75@yahoo.com. I will be glad to get back to you. Thank you so much for being there, and I wish you a wonderful year 2021. Looking forward to hearing your experiences as unfolding based on the alignment of your attitude towards life. So change your attitude and you will change your life. Thank you so much for your audience. Looking forward to seeing you next week, same time, by 11 a.m. Nigerian time. Thank you. Merry Christmas, compliment of the season, and a prosperous 2021. See you in 2021, beginning your adventure into the life you've